There you go.
Okay, so I'll add to what Elio said about Ilif and Neshama. For those that do Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Yomi, happens to be today's Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Yomi, says that the greatest aliyah, besides for the learning Torah, is that the children go in the ways of the parents. If the children go in the ways of the parents, a whole long zayar that the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch quotes, and that says that the greatest aliyah for a neshama, because on the yard site, the neshama does get judged. I don't know what that means exactly, but the neshama gets judged, and how does the neshama get judged? By seeing what the children are like. So Baruch Hashem, we don't have to say what Elio does for me, for our community, our Zoom community, our whatever internet community, Phoenix community, et cetera, et cetera. So it's only right that I come out. But I got a good musser on the plane. I don't know if this is a joke or whatever, but I got a good musser on the plane because usually I come for Shabbos. I try to come for Shabbos, get a little vacation out of it. So today I'm thinking I'm a big tzaddik because I'm not coming for Shabbos. I'm just coming for the day. Why not? What's the difference if I learn a bismerish or I learn on a plane? So I'm thinking, oh, look at that. I'm learning on a plane. I'm not watching any movies. I'm not doing anything. Pat myself on the back. And this fellow sits himself down next to me, about 6'5", in a tiny little seat. And he's got his elbow in me the whole time. Now, the reason why he had his elbow in me is because he was doing the New York Times crossword puzzles. But like, he had a pencil. He had the pink eraser, like from school, like half erased, not right? And a big, thick New York Times. And he did the puzzle the entire flight. I saw him close it once or twice to put his head down. For the most part, so here it is. I thought I'm learning. I'm a big tzaddik. Hashem sent me a good message. Like, you think, don't think you're so great. This guy can do crossword puzzles for as long as you're learning, if not more. So it's good. It was good. It was good and humbling, and it was worth coming. It's also not so bright. It's not so bright of me maybe to come here, to come over here and say halacha. Baruch Hashem. Person the Chayr of Sani, you have a chashuv rav here. You're zeicha to have a chashuv rav, and to me to come here to this shul and to expound and say things when I really shouldn't be opening my mouth is probably not proper. But it's with his rishus because he's besides for a chashuv tamachom, he's also a tzaddik, and he's tolerant, I guess, tolerant of me. But the bottom line is if I say something here and the rav disagrees, and it's clear that it goes with the rav or and not anything what I have to say. And on top of that, I don't know if the other was aware, but I think the Rav's main Rebbe is Rabbi Yomin Cohen Shlita, and he wrote the Bible on the subject that we're going to discuss. So if there's a disagreement, he's got it in to find out from. He wrote, Rabbi Yomin Cohen wrote Chelkas Binyamin, which is you cannot find a tshuva or anything on the subject that we're going to discuss that does not quote his sefer and all of his svarim. It's a pella that was like to have somebody that grew up in America to have to write things like that. But anyways, that is why I'm not so bright for doing what I'm about to be doing. And I hope the Rebbeinu Shalom will put the right words into my mouth. Now, we could sit here and we could talk for a long time, or I could talk for a long time. If you're bored, I think I say this every year, but it doesn't change. You do not have to stay. Whoever's on Zoom can just log off. I'm not offended. And you could just get up and walk out, and I could talk till my flight. Till my flight, I can sit here and talk about the subject. Now, I did compile over the last week a bunch of shilas that came up on this subject.
What did we get?
It's interesting how I didn't realize, maybe I did realize how common the shilas that get asked on this thing. So just as a hakdama, most seminary girls and most yeshiva brachim know the mice. Does anybody know the story about the guy with eating the pastrami sandwich on the plane? Yeah. Right? Most yeshiva guys heard this story. What? Yeah. Really? I can't.
I'll speak to the young folks. And in the middle of the conversation,
I hope not. I hope not, because the story is totally shaloi halacha. Totally shaloi halacha. Unless, like I said I'm going to open my mouth here, and then like stupid, because the Rav has the inside access to all these things. Okay. Anyways, for those that are not familiar with the story, and this is the extent of most people's education on the subject. The story goes as follows. The way I've heard it, I'm sure there's different versions. That a guy was on a plane, and he took out his pastrami sandwich and he unwrapped it, and he went to get up to go to the bathroom to wash. And then when he came back from the bathroom, so after he washed, he realized that there's a guy sitting next to him in the chair, in the seat next to him, and he left the meat out without being watched, and maybe the guy replaced his pastrami. I heard it with pastrami. Maybe it's Mexican food. I don't know. So the guy, he says, "Oh, how can I eat the food?" Because the guy maybe replaced it, and he didn't eat it. He put it away, and that was that. The guy turned to him and says, "Why didn't you eat?" He said, "Because I was afraid." And I don't know what he told him there, but the point is, the guy said, "Look at what your Torah, your religion saved you, because I saw this pastrami and it was so enticing, so I took some and I replaced it with my own." So that's the way the story goes. It's totally shaloi kahalacha, the story. I'm not saying it on my own because I'm quoting other major Rabbanim besides who the Rav just quoted that said that this is. I wouldn't say it on my own because this is a story that I grew up with, right? But it's not whatever growing up I did. But it's shaloi kahalacha because it was not. There's something called mirsa, something where somebody's scared. If somebody's scared to do something, then we are not afraid that he's going to replace it. So there's people all over a plane. You're not going to just go, and you also have no idea when the guy's coming back from washing his hands. So there's no chance that somebody would do something. I mean, there's a chance, of course there's a chance, but we don't halachically have to be concerned for something like that because there's something what's called mirsas. He's scared. He wouldn't, no sane person would do that, right? To do something like that. So therefore, halachically, the fellow could have eaten the meat. Now, that doesn't mean that the guy didn't replace. That's a possibility. It is a possibility, but that doesn't mean that halacha says that he would have to not eat the pastrami sandwich. Why you want to get into whether it's if he didn't eat the pastrami sandwich, whether that's whether it's baltashris, I don't know. Right? But so that's the story that many people get their information from. Now, another thing, and this is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine.
It's not the only story.
What?
I know somebody also, a nursing home, told the non-Jewish people to pick up food for them, or kosher restaurant, got it. Not kosher.
Oh yeah, that could happen. Yeah, sure. There's plenty of stories. Yeah. There's plenty of stories. This story happens not to be la halacha. It did happen. But okay, so now many people call this is not about Basar Shem Salamayim. This year is not about Basar Shem Salamayim. The two are connected. They are 100% connected. But Basar Shem Salamayim is a whole different, is really, really a different sugya. It leads into this sugya. But Basar Shem Salamayim means meat that was hidden from the eye. Right? So meat that was hidden from the eye, basically the case is the Gemara in Chulin, which says that there was a piece of meat in the street, a kosher piece of meat, and if it was left unattended, even for a minute, then we're concerned that a bird comes in, takes that meat, and replaces it with a not kosher piece of meat, and therefore you're not allowed to, any meat that was left unattended is not allowed to be eaten. That's what the Gemara says. But that's actually, so that's not this sugya. This sugya that we're talking about is not leaving it unattended. It is attended. It's just attended by a non-Jew, right? There's no concern that a bird is going to come. I'm assuming that the non-Jew that you hired or you're friends with is going to chase away the bird that's taking away your meat. So it's not, that's a different sugya, and it happens to be that we paskin that this concern is a lechatchila concern. This concern that the bird may come and take the meat and then replace it is a lechatchila concern. First of all, it's a machlokes Rab and Levi whether we even hold of this at all. Shulchan Aruch, the Svardim would say that it's aser to have the meat. Ashkenazim, the Ramah says, b'diavad, the meat is okay, which means that there is never a shaila to be. I mean, you could ask the shaila because you don't know the din, but there's no shaila. If you left your meat outside, like you're barbecuing, you run inside to get some sauce or whatever, and then you realize you left the meat out by itself and nobody was out there. So there's no shaila to be asked, at least for Ashkenazim, because we hold that b'diavad it's okay. So it's not, there's no Shiloh. I've heard and I saw that Svardim also go like the Ashkenazim. Sometimes the Svardim want to be like Ashkenazim, right? I don't know why, but sometimes they do. And a lot of Svardim go with the Ramos Psak in this too. So therefore, Basal Shem Salam Ayim is not, it's not an issue b'diavad ever, right? We're talking about where you left the meat by a guy. Okay, now I'll tell you a little story that happened with because I get this question from so the shaila came from from a major yeshiva, let's call it a major yeshiva, and they said that they had francs and blanks in their car, and they went to the gas station to get gas, and they left the francs and blanks in the car. So now when they come back out, are they allowed to eat the francs and blanks? And they said, is it basar shenasalam and ayah? So it bothered me because a yeshiva bacher should know better that that's not basar shenasalam and ayah, because there was no birds inside the car. It was locked in the car. It was either locked, even the car was unlocked. But the point is, no concern for birds. So I didn't have the patience to explain it to them. So the way they had this long, drawn out question, and they said, is it basar shenasalam and ayah? So I just answered one word. I said no. Right? To which they must have misread it, and they must have thought that they typed in the text that are we allowed to eat it? So they thought I said no, right? Because they didn't read the text. So I should have expounded on 100%. I should have, but I was being selfish because they were being amaratzim, so it was bothering me. So I mean, not that it's me to whatever. I wasn't proper on my end. So anyways, I wrote no, and then they texted back later. They said we went into Then the guy tells me later on that they went into a different gas station in Lakewood. This yeshiva was not in Lakewood, and they met a Rav, and they asked the Rav the Shaila. So the Rav said, I don't see what the problem is. Why can't you have the frankincense? But they already asked the Shaila, so they were very early. So they already asked the Shaila. So what they did is on the highway, they did like a hineni muchana mazuman, and they threw the francs and blanks out of the window. That was the story. So, but then they got back to me and they said, "Why do you say no?" I said, "I didn't say no. I said yes. I mean, I meant yeah. I mean, I said it's not basar shenasalam ayim, which meant that you could eat it, right?" So then they had tainas on me why I was so curt with them. So I had a ride the next day going up to that yeshiva. So I went and I bought some francs and blanks, and I sent it up. I sent it up to them because why not? Why not? At least they'll remember the story, maybe. Hopefully. I should have that taco. I should have told them that. Then that taco. If they went back to get it, that would be basar shenasalam and ayah. Very good, very good. Anyway, so that's some background. Another background. I don't know if those have been to Faraco or Lawrence. So there's a store there called Season Express. Okay, it became a kosher, almost 24-hour store. Before that, it was a store. It was called the Dowdy Deli. It's owned by the Spanish, and they used to have Chol Yisrael milk. They officially only had Chol Yisrael milk for the coffees because they wanted the frum clientele. Even though I think in our neighborhood, probably 70 to 80% of people do not, that's an unscientific number, do not keep Chol Yisrael. So, okay, but I guess they decided to keep Chol Yisrael. A friend of mine went in there and he caught the guy in the back of the store replacing the Chol Yisrael milk with non-Chol Yisrael, which is exactly what I would do, right? Because why? Who cares? Milk is milk. And why wouldn't I could save a lot of money. And this guy saw them doing it. He went in the store and he saw them doing it. But it's their store. So these things do happen. I'll tell you a funny story, the opposite. Somebody who gives a hefsher on a Dunkin' Donuts in Flatbush they have Chol Yisrael milk and not Chol Yisrael milk. The Chol Yisrael milk, I have to remember the story exactly. I think the Chol Yisrael milk was in the front and the not Chol Yisrael milk was in the back. And they ran out of not Chol Yisrael milk. So the boss came in and they told him, you know what we did? We replaced the not Chol Yisrael milk with Chol Yisrael. He said, what are you guys doing? If you do the other way around, fine, right? But they did it this way. So okay, shine. So you see that there is such a chashash. There is such a chashash of goyim, especially when they think it's financially good for them. Then they're going to do these things, which I have to say, I would do the same thing. I'm not the tzaddik, I'm not getting the tzaddik of the year award, but if it's somebody else's religion and I didn't understand it, why would I care? Right? Meaning if you have a cleaning lady in your house, or you have a guy cooking in your house, and they tell you stay away, keep the milchiks and fleishiks separated, and you're not home for a bunch of hours. Why would I make my life harder? I wouldn't pay any attention to that. Meaning we're not looking to belittle the non-Jews, just why should they? Right? Now there's another thing that's important to understand. We are never concerned halachically for a guy trying to purposely trip us up because we're Jews. Although there are stories like that too. There's no concern whatsoever that a person's like, we're going with the plane story, where the guy says, you know what, let me give this Jew non-kosher, and let's just replace it just because I want to get the Jew. We're not chosher for that in halacha. We're only chosher in halacha for them when they have an ulterior motive and a good reason to do this. If not, then halachically it's not an issue. Okay, so with all that akdama, which may be too long, let's try and go with what the halacha is. Now, I think the reason why there's so much confusion with this halacha or these halachas is because there is such a gap between what you're supposed to do lechatchila and b'di'evid if it already happened. For the most part, in almost all situations of leaving stuff alone with a guy, or deliveries that the seals came off, in almost all situations, b'di'evid, and we'll try and go through all of them, are going to be okay. So it's really a case of lechatchila, what you're supposed to do. But if it got messed up for whatever reason, almost always we'll find a way to allow it. Okay. So first things first, what is the halacha? So Gemara Avodah Zarah says that, without going into the specifics, because it'll take too much time. Basically, the basic way most Rishonim understand it is that anything that would be an Issa D'Oraisa to eat needs 2 seals, right? So meat would need 2 seals. There's not that many things that are also D'Oraisa to eat. I hope everybody here keeps the Rabbanans, we say, right? But there's no D'Oraisa. There's very few things you can't eat. Meat is an issue, meaning it's obviously treifa meat. Fish would be an issue. Wine. At least in the old days, wine would be an issue. Nowadays, maybe wine is not awesome midaraisa. The reason what should be wrong with wine? Wine is because they use it for avodah zarah, right? Libations, whatever it is that they do. So those are basically the 3 that we have to be worried about. The shaila is milk. Why is milk? What's the story with milk? Is milk the rabbanon? Is milk the raisa? We're not going to go down that road. Maybe if we run out of things to say, then we can fight that one out. Whether milk is midaraisa. Cheese mostly would be derabbanan, mostly.
Even if he's real written.
So yeah, but is it bottle? Is it not bottle? Yeah. So, but basically everything else other than meat, fish, wine, 1 seal is enough. So anything that's awesome in Torah, if it would be replaced, if it would be awesome in Torah, if it would be replaced, then you need 2 seals. If it's derabbanan, then you need 1 seal, and 1 seal goes for everything. So fruit would need 1 seal, unless there's a natural seal to it. What's a natural seal? An apple. If a guy brings you an apple, you don't have to ask him if he, I don't know what we treif about an apple. So that's a built-in seal. That's fine. However, cut up fruit. So how do you know they didn't dip that fruit in fats or something like that? How do you know that they what knives they cut it with, et cetera, et cetera? So maybe cut up fruit would need to have a siman. Now it could very well be that a siman would be, if you go to a grocery store and it's set up very nicely, so then that could be unto itself a siman, because to mess it up and to put it back together again is an issue. Now the simanim is complicated, so we're not gonna really get into that. But what's the pshat? What does a siman do? Why does something that's also from the Torah require 2 simanim and something that's the Rabbanan require 1? The reason is because, and when there's one step before that, there are some shittas, Rashi holds, it's expensive items that require 2 seals. cheaper items only require one seal, right? So, but the reason is because since the Isser is much bigger, 2 seals is going to make the guy dissuade him from doing it, because he has to come up with 2 seals in order to let's say a guy takes the meat and he's going to replace it with his own meat, which is a smart thing to do, right? Kosher meat is a whole lot more expensive, so it would be very much worth his while to replace his kosher meat with non-kosher meat. It's not.
I mean, I don't. Does it taste better?
That's a thing. Can you taste it?
I don't assume it tastes any different.
You know how they found that story, that terrible story where they found a Jewish person, a frum person replacing, I don't know if you guys know the story, should know the story. The way they caught it, supposedly the way they caught it is because there was no, the soup, the women were realizing that their soups had no salt in it. Right? Supposedly that's the way they didn't have, it was very not salt, very bland. So they said they must be not being salted, and somehow from that investigation they figured it out. But we'll get back to not that story specific, but anyways, it would be worth his while. So the more seals you have, the more you're going to keep him away. The same thing with the more levels of security that you have, right? What is it called? Two-factor authentication. I don't know, whatever Apple makes you a sugar with. Right, and all this, it's a headache. It's a headache, but the bottom line is it keeps the people away. So the more headaches you have, the more secure it's going to be, right? So memela. So the Rabbanans, we don't have to be as concerned. So one seal is enough, but Rai says that need 2. So then, okay. So just on that subject, because somebody actually asked this to me this week. So they go to Costco and I think the question was asked about the deli. Let's say Mealmart deli. I don't have it here. Or whatever. They have it prepackaged. We're not going to say Shorabah because that's a whole different subject, right? But the prepackaged stuff. Where's the 2 seals? Right? I mean, you rip it open. There's one plastic, one shrink wrap or whatever you call it, saran. That's it. Where's the 2 seals? So the second seal it's supposed to have a what do you call it? Hologram or something. A hologram on the plastics. Meaning, let's say a guy wants to replace it. Let's say Costco wants to replace the kosher stuff with the not kosher stuff, right? So they would have to slice open the plastic, and then they'd have to get a hold of another plastic with the hologram on it. So that's considered 2 seals, right? So that's why when you go with the packaged meats, or then you don't see 2 seals, the answer is that there really is. You just have to find. If you don't see it on there, then then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you with that. But and also when you buy packaged chicken or meat from the grocery store, so it's just a shrink wrap. So that is 1 seal, because if you take off a shrink wrap, it's very hard to get that shrink wrap back on without it looking like there was some damage done, right? So, and then you have the sticker with the price or the store sticker on it, so then that's also okay, right? Maybe yeah, maybe no, but okay, different kashrus agencies are gonna have different policies. That's why if you get a bag a lot of people do Uber Eats around there. There's enough places to do Uber Eats. I'm saying, not really. So why did anybody want the subject for it? There's not. I mean, I told somebody I'm giving this subject on. They said, "What subject are you giving on about Uber Eats and deliveries in Phoenix? Where are they getting anything from in Phoenix?" I said, "I have no idea. I don't know. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to discuss." So anyway, so what you could do is you have a lot of places in Far Rockaway, 5 towns. What they do is they have the bag, and then they put a receipt over the bag, and then they staple the receipt. All right, so now if a guy wanted to replace that, so he'd have to open up the bag and they get another receipt with the store's name on it, right? Or the kashrus agency's name on it, and then staple it. So that's considered 2 seals. The food itself could be considered a seal. We'll get to that.
The person receiving it has to know
that is their, yes. So then yes, the person receiving it should know. Now, one of the classic cases, I mean, I took a whole list, but if we start with the shilas, we won't learn any. And we could do that. We can stay tuned, post whatever. If those that want to stick around, we can go through shilas. I wrote down a couple interesting ones that actually right now, but from Mincha time, interesting kasher shilas that just came up. But I guess that will be bonus time for those that we're not going to keep anybody trapped over here. But so what was I just going to say?
I know.
Oh, with
I
the
know
so
it.
okay. So
You
now,
know,
bottom line is the lechatchila, it has to have 2 seals. So if you order meat from a restaurant or meat from a grocery store, and the seal seems to be broken, so now can you eat from that or can you not eat from that? So let's go quickly because there's other stuff that we want to discuss, especially kitchens and shuls and kitchens in people's houses. And if you, I don't know what goes on in this neighborhood, but in my neighborhood or extended neighborhood, there's lots of people that leave goyim home alone for days at a time in their houses, which is a extremely big issue halachically. But let's say you get the pad. This is the most common of the shilas. They ordered Uber Eats and it came and it was opened up a little bit. So can you eat it? Can you not eat it? That is by far and away the most common shilah. So push comes to shove, like we said, it's going to be mutter. Now, why? Why will it be mutter? So there's a number of reasons why it's going to be mutter. So the first reason that we'll use, even though we don't paskin this way, is that there are those that hold that this, it really sounds terrible, but there are those that say that this is not an issue with non-Jews to Jews. This issue is from irreligious Jews to Jews. Because an irreligious Jew thinks he's a Jew, meaning he is a Jew, but he thinks that we're going to trust him because he's Jewish. And because he thinks we're going to trust him, he thinks he can get away with a lot more than a guy doesn't know the halachas. And he's saying, oh, I'm going to start off with this Jewish. He's going to catch me. And they don't know. They just get told what's going to be done. And then they go on their way. And they don't want to start up because they're afraid. But a Jew will not be as concerned because he thinks, oh, they trust me. So there is a sheet. We don't paskin like that, but there is a shita that goes that way. And b'di'evet, many would say that we would go with that opinion. That's one heter. Second heter is what you just said, that if you recognize the food. So many people are repeat customers from stores. And you know what their sandwich looks like, you know what their food looks like. So b'di'evet, and some even say lechatchila, if you can tell the way they make their sandwich, or you can tell the way they lay it out on a plate, then that would be unto itself a siman. Okay, but it's only one siman. So the Ramah clearly says that b'di'evet, even for meat and even for daraisas, one siman is enough. That the Ramah says right off the bat. This is all, by the way, in Siman Kuf Yud Ches in Yeridea. And some of it is in Kuf Lamed in also in Yeridei, but that's by the halachos of Yayin Nesta. So I'm losing track. I actually jotted it down this afternoon in your house about all that's starting to be matter. So let me look it up here. Where is it? Okay, yeah. So number one, this is in no particular order. Okay, some say it only applies to non-affiliated Jews. Okay, l'chatchila we don't go with that because we don't trust the irreligious the same way we don't trust the goy. However, there is a tshuva from Rav Moshe Feinstein that says that a parent, and the way it was back then is that the parents. I hope I don't say this the opposite way. But Rav Moshe has a tshuva because back then, unfortunately, the way it was coming from Europe, the parents were from and the kids were not from. So the question was, can the parents go to the kids if the kids swear that they respect and honor their parents and they tell their parents, we will keep kosher, we're going to have the kosher kitchen for you, and we're going to get only kosher food. Can the parents trust the kids? To which Rav Moshe writes in the tshuva, yes, you can. Right? Now, unfortunately, fortunately, now it's in the reverse. Right? Now it's the kids becoming from. So can we apply that tshuva from Rav Moshe? Rav Moshe says that we can trust a kid. He's not going to feed his parent treif. That much we can do, even though he's a religious, right? Can we trust the opposite? That a parent, that's not so simple, right? There are mechanchim here that can say what the relationship between parents and kids and parents. I'm no expert on that, but the question is, can you say it in the opposite direction? But that's a shaila that comes up. That comes up a lot, right? Now, what is irreligious? Irreligious for this is that if they machal Shabbos in public, unfortunately, it comes up a lot. You know, you have kids at risk, and most of the time they don't fit into the full parameter of being machal Shabbos because when there's yidden around, they won't be machal Shabbos, right? So this is off a little bit on a tangent, meaning somebody has a, I don't want to say, but it comes up, siblings, and the sibling says, come for a barbecue. I'm going to make sure I have it all kosher. Can you trust me now? So he says, Machal Shabbos? Yeah, he's Machal Shabbos. Will he be Machal Shabbos in front of you? No, he'll never be Machal Shabbos in front of me. So then that means he's not a Machal Shabbos according to the letter of the law. Again, obviously ask Shiloh about it, but it's an important thing to know. That means he has some form of respect. The question becomes, there's a whole nother thing, is if he posts on social media on Shabbos, and he knows that you're on the same social media, and you'll see that he posted Shabbos afternoon. So that used to be a problem, but now that you can time your social media posts, so now maybe it's not a problem, right? So you got to keep in touch with the technology to try and figure out what all these. Maybe that's a different episode. But even if you say that he's, because they're not doing the Rabban the rest, they're not really. The reason why people are texting on Shabbos not because they say it's only the Rabban. That's part of the equation. But I'm saying on there, you have to try and think what's there. Which again, we're trusting them. We're not asking them to trust them on Shabbos. We're asking to trust them about kashrus. So we have to see if there's any yiras something, yiras shemayim, yiras humans, yiras. There's a yiras.
Somebody has a kid that is at risk for going off to their house.
Yeah, that's unfortunately very common, Shiloh. I don't know, it's very common enough that yes, the kid's there and the kid wants to bake. And the kid, and then you're not eating my food. Unfortunately, but most of the time we're going to say that it's okay because they're not usually Machal Shabbos in front of their family. If they are, so then it's complicated. It's complicated, right? Then you tell them to put a video camera in. Well, there's ways. We'll get to the video. Maybe we'll get to the video camera. Maybe we won't. Okay, so that's one, is that it doesn't, b'diavad, we'd say it only applies to irreligious Jews, not to a guy. Most, although there's plenty of Uber Eats delivery from ones in our neighborhood. Not plenty, but there's quite a few because they ask a different shayla. I'm sorry, I'm ADHDing over here, just going all over the place. I don't know, sometimes it could help you concentrate, helps me concentrate, because I can't keep on the same subject for more than 60 seconds, obviously. But can you deliver basa b'chalot? Right, basa b'chalot is also ba'ana. So can you be a delivery boy to deliver basa b'chalot, or right treif? And also, is that called doing business with treif? Is it really basa b'chalot? Right, exactly. Most of the time it's not, and most of the time the place can say it's not an issue anyways because you're not. That's another right. That's another issue. That's another issue. Can you deliver it to a Jew? So you can assume that most are not Jewish. Okay, so that's one. Oh, very good. So cheese is. So what's about pizza? We'll get to it. If I forget, please remind me. Thank you.
So if you have a vitamin in your house, according to this sheet, only places for
No, there's an additional wrinkle about your house, which we'll hopefully get to. I have no idea what time we started, so I just start walking out. Like I said, just start walking out. I'll get the message. I will not be offended, I promise. Maybe Elio will be offended, but I don't care if he gets offended. So, okay. So b'diavad, we said one seal is enough, right? Okay. If you recognize the food, that would be cooler number 3. So if you recognize the food, it's okay. Now, some place can hold that you can lichatchila send food as long if you're going to recognize it and you know the person's going to recognize it. Let's say a particular pizza, you know what it looks like, you know what that pizza shop's pizza looks like, then I personally don't have no idea how anybody can possibly recognize pizza, but that's probably because I don't give it enough time to look at it till it gets in my mouth. So maybe that's why. But if you recognize who, now this I do have a Ma'aser BDD with Reb Feivel, right? Reb Feivel Cohen, who we mentioned before, is Reb Binyamin Cohen, the Rebbe's father, who also from the Gedolei Poskim. So he had a koilum for Akhleh, and I walked in there once. I was a teenager, and I went. He was giving a shir on a Friday morning, and all the koil guys and Reb Feivel are sitting around. And there's a piece of chicken on a plate. It looks like a regular dinner plate with a chicken and some vegetables. And it was left in the refrigerator overnight. I'm sure this comes up here or most shuls all the time. It was left in the refrigerator overnight. And obviously they have people coming in to clean. And they were trying to figure out. They were all sitting around examining. And what did I know? I was like, what are these people doing? what are they? Oh, it's kosher chicken. Who are you kidding? Right? But that was my puny little brain. But they were trying to figure out would that be a siman? I don't remember what the psak was. If I was looking, analyzing, thinking, And of course, I don't remember because I didn't care enough to remember. But I think he allowed
Who in
it.
his right mind would look at another piece of chicken and put that piece of chicken there?
Right,
It just-
right, exactly. But the question is, it still has to fit into the parameters of the halacha. Yes, who would do it?
So common sense is.
So the question is like this: the guys, I once slept in an airline terminal the entire night. Okay, totally off the. Why I did that is a whole different story. But I saw the guy vacuum the entire terminal. It was not Phoenix; it was Philadelphia, and he vacuumed the entire terminal, and then right at the end, the bag burst. I mean, it burst all over the place. So what does that have to do with this? Because you got a guy cleaning an entire shul a whole night for hours. He's hungry. He goes and he eats the chicken. He says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go. Nobody's coming for another few hours. I'm starving right now. I'm going to eat this chicken, and then I'll go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I'll replace it. And perfect, right? Oh, really? That is I can see myself doing that. If you're really hungry and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time or the right place at the wrong time, whatever it is, then you'll do that, and then you'll just go replace it. So we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that in a minute. Now here's a big one, and this is the one cooler that can really come up, and this one is in Hilchus Yayin Nesech, and that is if you can tell that the seal broke by itself, then it's okay, which is what happens. Yeah, they deliver the Uber Eats and they leave it on your front, whatever they do, and then you open the bag, and you see, let's say they had a seal inside and then the bag on the outside, whatever it is, and the seal seems broken. Right, but if it looks like it broke by itself, maybe because of the wind or because it fell over or the tape wasn't so strong or the staple wasn't. I mean, if it clearly looks like it broke by itself, then it's going to be mutter. Right? The only problem is the place can say that's only if the guy didn't recognize that the seal was broken, meaning it was so clear that it was broken that maybe the guy would take advantage and he sees the seal's broken, so then he'll go replace it. Again, that's more advanced, but that is a major source of a kula. The fifth one, again, in no particular order. Nothing is in it. If there's nothing in it for the guy, then why would he do it? Which is a major kula for our neighborhoods, because why would he take your piece of chicken on when he's a delivery guy? So he's 10 minutes away. So why would he take your piece of chicken and then have to, because he's hungry in those 10 minutes, by using what we said, if he got hungry in the middle of the night cleaning the shul and he decided to take a piece of chicken and then replace it later, then maybe because he had a good reason. He's not going to get food for another few hours. But if a regular delivery guy, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, why would he go through that headache? So if there's nothing in it for him, then it's not a problem, right? And nowadays, there's tons of food. A guy gets hungry, a delivery guy gets hungry, so he's just going to pull into a McDonald's and he's going to eat there. The only thing is, what comes up is, in this neighborhood, I don't think you have this issue, but in our neighborhood, you have this issue, is those that are going to Orlando, that are being oil regal to Orlando for Pesach. So if they don't want to pay the Florida prices in groceries, so they hire a guy with a U-Haul and they bring all the food down there. Now, if you're in North Carolina or South Carolina in the middle of the night and you're hungry and there's no restaurant for miles, and then the stuff comes and the seals are open, so then maybe there's a concern that they would help themselves to some of the food. Or you could say, no, there's gas stops there's enough restaurants along I-95 that you could. So that would be a question. That would be a more.
Replace it with brisket on I-95.
So right. So you have to know what type of food it is, and you have to know. Yes, that's true. That's true. But that's.
You're not worried that he would ruin his reputation.
So that's coming up. That's coming up. Yes. Then another one, 7. This is how you know that Elio is tuned in, right? Because people ask, like, what's the deal with the bicycle? Why a guy on the bicycle, right? Didn't you say somebody asked, why did he put a picture on whatever this notice that he put up about the guy on a bicycle? So because when somebody, when somebody's doing the right thing, Hashem takes you in the right direction. There's a big difference if something gets opened by a delivery guy on a bike and a delivery guy in a car. Right? Why? Why? Because if there's people around, then that's also. If there's people around, then we're not concerned If you see a guy that has the Uber Eats sign on his bike and he's pulled over in the middle of the road, not near any restaurant, somebody's gonna report him or whatever. Or he's gonna be concerned. Somebody's gonna report him. What is this guy doing going through the insulated bag of all the things? But we don't say this, and this Rabbi Yochanan Cohen says beferish, we don't say this if you have a car. Because in a car, he can open the back seat, sit in the back seat, and go rummage around. What?
Pick your nose and nobody sees.
Correct. Well, he says, well, at least that's what you think, right? Unless you're in a Tesla that's recording everything. Yeah, okay. But the Rabbi Yochanan Cohen says this cool of people being around, because there's always people around, even in Phoenix, right? Forget about New York, right? So there's always people around. So why are you concerned that he's going to replace anything? But the Chelkas Binyamin says not in a car or a van for sure not. You go into the back of the van or a UPS. You just go to the back of the van, do whatever you want. You're not concerned. So that kula would not. We got plenty of kulas besides for that one, but that's the nafkamina. On the bike would be much more makel theoretically, because the guy's not going to stop.
Is there a feeling in the level of emeritus? Like the Uber Eats is probably much more emeritus because you get a report, you get.
So very good. So that's another one. Meaning, if his job will be on the line and he loses his job, so then that's also something called mirtis, that he's afraid to lose his job. Sometimes we trust non-Jews doctors. Do we trust a non-Jewish doctor? Do we not trust the Benageya to eating on Yom Kippur, let's say, or to inducing a woman do we say that we trust them? Do we not trust them? You really should not trust them, but because they just shoot their mouth and would say whatever they want. But that's a whole different shmooze. So yeah. So, but he might lose his job. So and Uber Eats is not like it's not hard to be fired from them. And also, what about reviews? If he's scared, everybody. The reviews is the main thing. Today's door, everything is the reviews. Don't review this year. Yeah. So you get a 5-star, 4.5-star. That's their mamish scared about their reviews. So if they know that if it comes unsealed. So that much I haven't seen, and because I imagine Rabbi Yochanan Cohen is not, maybe he is, but filled in on all the narishkeit of today's door, probably is. But his sefer was written before all this narishkeit with the 5 stars. So it'd be interesting, Taka, what he would say if that's considered enough of a mirsus that he doesn't want to have bad reviews. Another interesting one is that I don't know, I'm not familiar enough with the Uber Eats. Can you track them on your phone to see where they drove? Somebody told me they could. Yeah, you could. So then what's the problem? Then really that should take care of most of the issues.
There's always license when they're spitting the food and all that type of stuff.
So spitting in the food is a little easier if they spit in it before it's sealed. Once it's sealed, right? I don't know. Once it's sealed, then I don't think. I mean, you really have to be very. You really have to like your saliva to unseal food and to spit it to it.
What would be the problem with that? Yotzim and Atame?
What, spitting in the food?
Yeah.
No, he's just saying. I think what he means is he's saying is that if the guy is willing to open the food to spit in it, so he'll be willing to go into the food to replace it. Which we already said that we're not worried about a guy purposely trying to get a yid. That's not a concern according to Halacha. Now the last and final kula.
Give a better view about the next time.
Right. Well, yeah.
Would a guy's saliva be also because of the Yotzim and Atame?
I don't know. No, it's considered Pirsha Ba'alma. I think it's not Yotzim and Atame. Okay, the last and final kula, which is interesting, is if you look in the Chelkas Binyamin, I checked this on Shabbos, because I thought I heard it b'shem the Chelkas Binyamin, but in the Chelkas Binyamin he brings that if you make it hefker, there's another rule, and this is around in the holidays, it's important to know. Nebuch, we say, oh, he's a cheap Jew, right? I'm sure you've heard the saying, cheap Jews. The Jews are not cheap. The Goyim are cheap. The Goyim, they love free things. You see how they run for free every day. You know, not. I mean, we like a good deal, but we're not crazy like that. A guy, they're mamish. They're not gonna if you tell the guy, and Rabbi Yochanan brings this, and then in the back, he brings in, I think in the next volume, whatever it is he came out with, it sounds like he backtracks on this a little bit. In the back, in the newer versions, he brings Miluim, which is ha'aras from people that disagree with things, and he brings them. So it sounds like he backtracks on this, but there are other poskim that say this. So a guy will never replace it unless he has to. So if it's hefker, he's just going to steal it. You ever have a guy that took your Amazon stuff and replaced it with a cheaper version? No, they just steal your Amazon stuff, right? So when people have a grocery store delivery, and they leave it on the front porch, and then you come there and it's open, many poskim say that is not a concern that he replaced it, because he's just going to steal it, right? He's just going to steal it. He's not going to replace it. A guy is too cheap to replace it unless he has to. So the question is, can you be samech on this l'chatchila? L'mashal. You have the shul and you have a cholent in the shul or Mexican food or whatever it is. And you know that the guy's coming at 12 o'clock at night or late at night. There's nobody going to be here. And you want to leave the food there. So do you need a simon? Do you not need a simon? So avada l'chatchila, there should be some sort of system, either video cameras or make a marking on the side with Hebrew letters or something like that. Avada l'chatchila, you should do that. But can you rely on this and just tell the guy, by the way, there's Mexican food, help yourself. Help yourself to whatever you want, and that's it. And then you could trust him, because there's no way he's going to take food and replace it. If he eats the whole food, he say, "Listen, you told me that I could eat whatever I want." All right. So that is a major kula. Whether to rely on that lechatchila, I don't know. A lot of these things there are poskim that say you can rely on this lechatchila, but we're talking in the b'diavad. So I think that's the list. So that's
the shul and the steel, like a house or like a restaurant.
I don't. It probably depends what they do with the food, Mr. No, wouldn't it depend how they? Yeah, if this. So I never understood the shuls have combinations, right? So anybody can walk in at any time. No, I don't know. Yeah.
Here, if the God is allowed to have a call to the kitchen.
I would think, right. They hold it's okay. Wow. Yeah. Interesting.
What are they gonna do? I mean, if the whole kitchen's inflation, so what are they gonna do? They're not gonna.
Oh.
That's the problem. I was when I was a Rebbe in Los Angeles, so Thursday night, we staffed with a buffer to say that the working group was not. They used to make stuff in the microwave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are stories all the time. The question is right. So the question is what's no, okay. So anyway, so I think those are the coolers, and because of all of the above what we just discussed, b'diavad, almost always you will fit your delivery into this. Now, there's two places in Shulchan Aruch, one in Siman Kuf Chav Beis, which it talks about the halachos of Nosim Tam L'Chagam, which is the number one heter to go with if you mix some meat with milk, or milk spoon with fleishiks. That's the number one heter to go with, that if it gives gam. For some reason, at the end of that siman, Shulchan Aruch discusses leaving a guy in your house alone, having nothing to do with meat. Leaving a guy alone with your utensils. What's the chashash? Two chashashes. One, they may bring their own food and cook it because they may be hungry. And two is that they may cook, like I said I would do. I wouldn't care which I'm hungry. Which microwave is milchik? Are you kidding me? I'm just going to go straight and do whatever I want, right? So the Shulchan Aruch beat us to it. It's not like this is a very brilliant thing that we came up with, that you should not allow. I mean, maybe it is brilliant, but the Shulchan Aruch already back then says you cannot leave your utensils with a guy, and you can't have a guy hanging out in your house alone. A separate din along the same lines, right? L'mashal, what? So you have to be yaitzev v'nichnas, which means they have to be scared that somebody may be coming at any time. Now you have many people in our neighborhood for sure. They have live-in maids, and they go off on vacation, or they go to Pesach. They go away for 8-9 days. A lot of them schlep their maids with them, right? But they have to take a car because they can't fly. That was a contemporary issue. Now that Trump is here, maybe that's going to be whatever. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So they leave their maids at home for 8 days. Nobody's going to be scared of anything. Why should she be scared, right? So that's one. The other one is that they know that the family leaves from 9 to 5. Nobody ever comes.
Is cameras enough?
Oh, so the Paiskim seem to say that cameras are enough, and not only that, but they don't even have to be watched. Meaning, as long as, but they have to know. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. So people say, I'm going to put cameras in the kitchen. Yeah, you also have to tell your maid that she cannot cook, which that's the part that people, because everybody's scared. I don't know how it is over here, but I have a brother-in-law when they have Friday night in Eretz Yisrael, he has a cleaning lady. That's a chiddush, a goy, not an Arab either. I don't know where my sister-in-law found it, but when she knocks on the door after the Suda Friday night, my brother-in-law says, and he's a chashuv he says, Mashiach seer, right? Yeah, that's the way, because that's how important it is for people, some people, to have cleaning help. But so they're so scared of the cleaning help, they don't want to tell the cleaning help they can't do this. So the whole heter of the video cameras and you coming and going doesn't work unless you tell them you cannot cook in this kitchen. Now there is an eitzah.
And if they tell them that they're being washed also.
They have to know that there's a camera there too. Although a nephew sent, I probably have the video buried somewhere in my phone. You see there's a camera in a tree in the kitchen, and you see the guy pull up a chair, lady, go up on top of the fridge where all the wine was hiding, take a couple of swigs of the wine, just like that, no cup or anything, put the chair back and move on, right? So, okay. So anyway,
just like
but I'm
we do
sure
with the orange, just like we do with the orange juice.
exactly, right, yeah. So
what do those people do?
So what do they do? So it could be that these people were home, but the maid obviously did not know that there's a camera on her, like you're saying, right? So now there's another din about wine. Let's discuss the wine for a minute, and that is what?
If somebody did it, somebody left the goat in the house and there's no mirrors, do that the kasha?
So very good. So yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute, hopefully. Yeah. So now, let's just discuss wine here. So wine needs 2 seals, right? The Welt, everybody, as much as we're saying, unfortunately, people are lenient about people allowing free, to free roaming in their house, but everybody's very makbid on wine. Right? The cleaning lady opened the refrigerator door and the wine was on the door, and they moved it and they carried it. What? No, mavushal is no problem. Even though that's a whole different story, because many places hold our mavushal is not really mavushal, but that's a different subject. But we're talking about non-mavushal, right? So non-mavushal needs 2 seals, but nowadays maybe only 1 seal because it's only the rabbanon, because the goyim don't do much with their wine. So when
it comes with 2 seals, it has a cork.
Right, we're talking about when it's open. Once it's open, right? So once it's open, so people ask, okay, so the guy moved my wine. I saw it was on one countertop and now it moved to another countertop. So I tell them, well, were you yaitz v'nichnas? Meaning, were they scared somebody may come? So if the answer is no, I say, okay, so your wine's an issue, and so is your whole kitchen, like the Rav just said. Right? And meaning the two go hand in hand. If your wine is a problem, then so is your kitchen. If your kitchen's okay, then your wine's okay. I hope I'm being clear with that.
In front of you, it's not a problem.
She doesn't.
Picks up your old bottle of wine and in front of you.
Me'ikar adina, she picks up the guy. She got either pour or put the hand in there. What?
Mixing is not.
Mixing would be, yeah, but I never saw a guy. No, that's not. The place can discuss that, but that's not really. You don't see them take it and shake it purposely. Right? I know the VAD by us does not allow the waiters to open the non-mavushal wine. Right. They don't do it by us. They do not allow the non-Jew to open the cork, even though halacha there's nothing wrong with it.
It's only if they pour it out.
It's only if they pour it, or if they shake it, or if they touch it with their finger.
What's shaking?
Shake, they go like this because they're somehow they're doing it as an avodah zarah. It's very rarely happens.
What about accepting a bottle of wine, that's a cold bottle of wine?
From a guy. Kosher or not kosher? Sealed is fine. If it's sealed, it's fine. But Chassidim, most Chassidim will not make kiddush, right? The other one's aware of that. The Chassidim will not. If a guy sees the wine, even through the glass, that's it. It's a shlah. It's based on a shlah. It's not in the shlah. The kids are shlah. Oh, okay. So
that's okay. That's how they make the bottles not transparent.
It's right. So if you can't see it, but I think a lot of Hasidim extend it to never having that wine. Really, it's only for kiddush that he says it, not for stam. But I think a lot of Hasidim will not have it even for stam. Yeah. So I haven't been zeicher to spend so many Shabbos with Hasidim, but I was zeicher with quite a few times with another Mitzvah, and they were quite makbid to make sure there's foil all around, because there's waiters and foil all around the, right? And also, what's covered? Gotta have it, and you'll only buy wine in cases, right? Because like if you buy an individual bottle, then goyim saw it. Unless like the Rub said, unless it's what?
What about the factory?
They don't. As far as I know, Kedem Naftali, is he on? He worked for Kedem. One of the guys on. It's on.
I'm on. Yes.
There's no goyim in Kedem. Didn't you tell that?
Not with a bottle. Not with a bottle. Only when there's full cases. But they'll allow goyim from an outside trucking company to come get.
Hold on, I can't hear you.
There's no goyim that deal with the bottling. They will allow an outside company to come pick up cases.
Yeah, he said that Kedem does not allow any goyim near the bottling process at all. So Kedem does not want to bite the hand that feeds it. Right, rightfully so.
If it's still a totally sealed bottle,
no, if it's totally sealed, there's no issues whatsoever. But I thought
I once delivered.
Because it's that's what seals are for. It's a headache that he's not going to do it. It's such a headache. Such a headache.
Well, I once delivered cases in Williamsburg, and I was wearing jeans and a baseball cap. They wanted to send the delivery back. They made me go show the guy my tzitzis.
I see that. They were.
He gave me a big tip afterwards.
Yeah. Anyway. So, but the point is that the halacha is the same. The halacha is the same. For some reason, people are so much more concerned with wine than they are with their kitchen. But the two really go hand in hand. So the lechatchila is, and wine, well, the ma'aser wine is a little stricter. One should not leave their wine. Even yotze b'nichnas is really b'diavad. So if you know that you're leaving a guy alone with the wine, then you should try and seal it up, put it into a bag, not it, whatever that would be. But again, leaving somebody a guy alone in the kitchen is a whole separate din. So Mamela, you can.
If they shook the bottle in the bag.
I don't know. I'll put an open bottle in a bag. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because for them it's not. If it's double sealed, it's not. It's not going to mean anything to them. Now on that subject, what?
What if it's in like a cabinet in the dining room, like underneath the bookshelf?
If it's left again, if you leave a guy alone with your wine that's open, then your wine is treif, and so is your kitchen. If you don't leave them alone, then your wine is okay, as long as they know they can't drink the wine, and they can't. And
if you had beef jerky in your stock drawer, it's like the same thing. You have the wine somewhere that they don't know. They're not going to use it over there.
Good. Let's say you're right, but if you leave them alone, then your kitchen's treif, so you still can't.
But the Mishnah says that therefore there's a significant number of people, let's say in the 5 sounds, you can't eat in their house.
I didn't want to say that, but you in Phoenix, you could say it. I will sign on the dotted line under your name, though, and it'll be a very sloppy signature too.
That's the Mishnah.
It's yes, it's a big issue. It's a big issue. Yes, what should I tell you? It's
What happens when they actually ask the shadow?
They don't. They don't know. No,
they ask about their wine.
So that's what the Rav was saying. So now, bottom line is, you have to kasha your kitchen or not? I mean, bottom line is the Shulchan Aruch says you have to kasha them. Shulchan Aruch with the Taz. Rav Moshe Feinstein says, and it's very interesting. He has a whole tshuva on this, and he says that you can be mekel after 24 hours. Because as we know, after 24 hours, everything is bad. Anything. So even if your utensils are treif, after 24 hours, meikar then it's okay. So basically, if you want to be hosted by one of these families, say, when did you guys get back? Right? And then you say, okay. Oh, it's 20. Then when do you start cooking? 20. Okay, fine. Right? Then that's. But you'd be surprised how many of them have their goyim cooking for them when they're not away. So that's a whole different. Again, it's not chas v'shalom, not saying anything against them. They're just not doing it purposely. They don't hear. They don't understand. They just don't understand the halacha of it. They say, "What do you mean? My help? I've had it for 20 years." Right? Ataka once did something stupid. I'd rather have a cleaning lady that comes a few days a week and she's for 20 years and she keeps halacha. She will never turn on a flame. I was once laying on the couch and she says to me that the fire went off under the potatoes. So me, a Groisa London, said to myself, I know the potatoes have been on for at least a half hour, so they're cooked enough. I said to her, you could turn it on, it's okay. I was like, what you idiot? What you think? She doesn't know the halacha. Then I just told her that she could go turn on the fire on the things. That was really a really dumb thing to do, right? But I'm saying people, you just justify like, oh, I trust her, she knows halacha, which many times would be true, but that doesn't change the din. So anyway, so basically, as far as I know, we go with Ramosha, and that after 24 hours, we're going to say that the kitchen is going to be okay. That's clearly not lechatchila. It's not lechatchila. So again, I don't know how you treat a shul with the kitchen here in the shul. Do you say that anybody can show up at any time? Or not, and this unsupervised, and they have to be right. They have to be scared. So guys ask, so they're in koilel and they don't want to come home for lunch because nobody's home anyways because their wife's working all day. So they say, am I mechuyev to go home to make sure that whoever's home watching the kids is going to be scared? Yeah, I would think that you're mechuyev. I don't think you're mechuyev to do every day, but you got to go. You got to stop in enough times that they are scared, or get a neighbor to come in.
What if they wash dishes even in front of you? Can you assume that it's not yet satisfied?
If without gloves, yes. I probably get daily, if not multiple times a day, that the cleaning lady washed the milchiks with the fleishiks, and that's probably because there's no supervision. But then again, I also get it where the husband did it. So right. So it's sometimes if I'm in a real tired mood, I'll tell the wife, I say, you don't have to say Lashon Hara on your husband. You could just say that it happens. We don't need to know who did this, right? But some people are talking. It happened in my house. I would say, sometimes I'll say, if I'm in a real mood, I'll say, keep your husband out of the kitchen, right? Okay, but yeah, bottom line is most of the time it's very difficult to answer when washing dishes because with soap and it has to hit at the same time, etc., etc. Anyway, so that is basically the din. Is that good, or is there anything that we didn't discuss that anybody asked?
Said open wide. I mean, closed is not sealed.
Cover's not enough. The cover's not a seal. The cover's not a seal.
I'm not saying with the shaking.
Well, with the shaking, no, it have to be open. Open. Yeah. No,
So as long as it's got a cover on that.
Correct. Yeah. If they carried it around the house and all that, it's fine.
But legally, I understand there's no breakfast would be a problem.
Yeah. So that's. It's one seal.
You do, but you know it's two.
What?
The
Lechatchila, you would want two seals. Again, bisman hazeh. What? Regular wine comes with two. Yeah. The printing on the yeah.
It's neat. One of those packages that is puffed up, you can't, it's just one seal, there's no way it would ever be, you open it up, it's broken off.
So b'diavad, we're samech on one seal. B'diavad, we are samech on one seal.
One seal is not.
Yeah.
I went to work. Same thing. There's lots of
work. Yeah, very good. Yeah. You reminding me of it?
I'm asking you.
Thank you. There's another important thing that comes up. Somebody's chas v'shalom in a hospital, or somebody is in a hotel. You go to a hotel, right? You're not. Well, I guess the island comes here to the hotels, right? But you want to go daven and you want to leave your meat. You know they're going to come clean the room. Can you leave your meats out like that, or do you have to seal it? Right. So now, you can report them. So the mistama, if you go report that the housekeeping, you can put on a do not disturb. But if you don't want it, you want it to clean. So then you put on, you report the housekeeping, then they're going to be in trouble. So the question is that enough, or should you make some sort of seal? L'chatchili, you should make some sort of seal. But in a hospital, also when at work, you want to leave it in the public refrigerator. So again, if somebody wants to take your food, they're going to take it and not replace it. Right? That's not really a concern. However, l'chatchila, you should make sure you why not? Put on the bank, say, do not touch. This is not available. But if you didn't, then it's okay.
Especially I had to bring my own food, but they were bringing in their own, they brought in food for everybody else to share food. So why would they take your food?
Correct. Right.
These are hospitals who have kosher kitchens. So what they do is they order from the restaurants over here.
Oh, right.
And you get this little bag, you sandwich it, perfect meat in it. Nothing. There's a receipt in there that says from the store.
Yeah.
The store doesn't say.
Right, so the store is wrong. The store lechatchila should seal it. But if not, we said b'diavad because of all of the above,
Even if
it's
there's
going
zero
to be okay. What?
Even if there's zero seals, no seals.
Even if there's no seals, yeah, because there's what's in it for them with all these what's all the again lechatchila you should not rely on that. Now you do have an eitzah that you can also give the guy their own utensils in your house. That might help. Meaning, if you give the guy, you say, "Here's a microwave for you, and here's some tray for dishes. Do whatever you want with it." Then that would be okay.
Is there a difference between someone who's a cleaning lady versus kitchen help? Is a cleaning lady better?
No, it doesn't. No, maybe worse. The more Hamish that they are in your kitchen, the worse it is. Right. Okay. I hear. All right. So let me just read. I'll read some of the shalos. Yes, you don't want me to read some of the shalos. Okay. Now that the Olam has it, so that maybe the Olam could answer. Okay. I just wrote this one down. This is interesting shaila. A guy ate hard cheese. He ate cheese that he has to wait 6 hours. Nothing to do with this subject. He ate cheese that was 6 hours, and then he by mistake ate fleishiks. So now he's officially parav for the next few hours. You can't eat milchiks because he's fleishiks, and you can't eat fleishiks because he's milchiks. You'd be surprised. This does come up, right? He's parav. He's lechatchila. He's parav, right? The question with the hard cheese that comes up, Agav, is, and this, I don't know what, we get, there's a guy on his way out of Koil, so if he's part of a yeshiva, so on his way out, he sees by supper, they're serving fleishiks. Okay, so he takes a bite, on his way out, and then he comes home, his wife's serving milchiks, right? So now what? You got a big shalom bias issue there. So Maker, then it's only an hour that you have to wait. According to, do you ask your own shah? I'm just saying that
ask what you're having for supper before you eat lunch.
Yeah, that's true. You can communicate with your wife. That would be a good eitzah, right? But the other way around, it's Erev Shavuos. Erev Shavuos, a lot of people, I don't know why this Erev Shavuos, but they were eating, I guess they're cooking cheese meals on Erev, and like 4 or 5 o'clock, they eat 6-hour cheese, and then they realize they're having a meat suda. So should they wait 6 hours? And then some the opposite. They're eating a dairy suda for Shavuos night, and then they just ate flesh. So okay, whatever. That's not a subject here. I got a bottle of wine as a gift that does not have any hechsher on it. So obviously you can't drink it. The question is, they want to give it away. Can you give it away? Because it's really also bahana, right? Yain nesa is also bahana. Any wine that's made by God is also bahana. The only thing is, the Ramah says nowadays it's more makel, which plays into what we were discussing because they're not over the zara. Okay, so I ordered food through a delivery app, but it wasn't sealed with kosher tape. Food looks normal. I don't know what that means. Is it okay to eat? Yes. Right, that would be okay because they recognize the food. I'm in an airport lounge. This one doesn't have so much. This one is okay. I'm in an airport lounge and they heated up kosher meal for me. I asked them to leave the double covering on, but then they served it. It was off. It was only single sealed. They heated it in their convection oven. So this is a shaila because it only had 1 seal instead of 2 seals, and it's a kashrus issue because the convection oven probably had non-kosher food in it at the same time. And when you would need it to be double sealed in order to keep out the tray. If it's only single sealed, so what's going to happen is the tray for food is going to go up into the air of the convection oven, and then it's going to go into the cover of the food, and then the cover is going to go and touch the kosher food. If you have 2 covers, taste does not go between 2 pieces of metal. So that's why you need, if you get an airline meal, which they don't have that anymore anyways. So if that comes back single sealed, so besides it, you have the meat issue, which we already said with the evidence, okay, right? But you have a kashrus issue. So
I should have convection oven for that.
So I wasn't sure. Convection oven, will they cook multiple things in it at the same time? Probably not. They just warmed it up like a microwave.
The fan removes any zayah that's there.
Yeah, so it could be. Yeah. Okay. Do orders of meat from a kosher? What? Is there zayah? So is there zayah? So one after the other. So convection oven is closed. It depends if it's vented. I thought it was mutter. But
they all have fans.
What?
They have dual fans.
Fans. He's a cook, so I'm not starting up with it.
Convection.
Right, but it's circling. I don't know.
They have two fans. They have one fan that
I hear.
circulates the air.
And
They
one
have
another
another
fan that
fan
pulls
that
it out.
removes. Yeah, it
I
pulls
hear.
all the air out. There's no Zay in convection ovens.
There's no Zay in convection oven? Well, there's no Zay in most ovens nowadays anyways.
They're
Really,
vented.
b'diavad.
But this is better than vented.
Yeah,
This is vented plus a fan.
I hear. Okay, next, the orders of meat from a kosher grocery store need to be double sealed. It's being delivered by a non-Jew. That's pretty straightforward that it does. B'diavad, we have, as above. I get stuff via Costco. I get stuff from Costco via Instacart, so a guy delivers it. I see Costco has Meal Mart vacuum packed sliced pastrami. Am I allowed to order that? It's not double wrapped but it's vacuum.
Yeah.
Right? So l'chayra, that would be okay because it has a hologram. The question is, I think what they're asking is, that's what you asking, no? Does the vacuum pack together with the seal, could that be considered two?
The hologram is much worse than the seal than the vacuum.
Yeah. They have to come up. The guy in Costco wants to replace it. He's got to come up with a hologram. It's not so readily accessible. A hologram.
No, the one.
Yeah.
They have a little sticker.
If a guy brings a cup of milk in Mexico and you don't see it brought the whole way, can I give it to my baby? Huh? It's milk, right? They ordered milk.
It's milk, but it's not United States.
Right. So I think you said it was Mexico. So let's say it's assumed that it's a place that we have the non-Chol Yisrael Stam Heter. So that's no problem. If you keep Chol Yisrael, then what? If you keep Chol Yisrael and you ordered up Chol Yisrael milk to the hotel room and they had access to it, and he just brought it as a cup without any seal. Yes or no? If you go with that, there's nothing in it for him. What do you think? What are the chances that he? Correct. Here.
Is there any hazard for something that's impossible to get once? Empire chicken, it's impossible to do that. It's rated. It's
I don't know. That's it.
It's better than
Only one seal. There's no way.
It's better than 10 seals on a thousand years ago.
No, but the evidence works. I hear. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Anymore. 3 seals will not be as good as that 1 seal that they have now.
Correct. That's true. And neither of the striking. And a chanavi. I don't know. I don't know enough.
Someone who's machmer and chalav Yisrael, is there ever a heter?
Probably not. Here, I have non-Jewish workers at my house and left my cooked chicken salad in the fridge. Am I allowed to eat it?
Yes.
They know they leave them there a whole day. So then,
But you know what it looks like. You know what your food looks like.
yeah. No, but the evidence. Questions about feelings. Oh, here's a common one. Can I eat kosher cereal from a hotel which is being held in a cereal dispenser, not in the actual cereal box?
Yes.
Because how do you know what brand cereal they put in there? How do you know? Some cereals have real tray. Some of them have glycerin, marshmallows, these type of things. No, but so if you see that it says Cheerios, then the fire you could be making. Right? It says Cheerios, they're not going to. It would be okay. Yeah, it would be okay. Yes.
I don't know if it's a short enough question, but.
Well, it seems like we're done, so it's all right.
Airline meals?
The Oilam, for the Oilam out there, the Oilam is walking out, so I think I'm done. Some of the Oilam are walking out.
That's just Rabbi Yeshua's kat rishayna.
Yeah, go ahead.
Airline, LL Airline. What's the whole deal with like first class, second class? First class is not really an issue for me, but like they bring back food and it's uncovered. Right?
Yeah, I don't know how.
What?
I have no idea how it works. I'm in the back of the bus.
No, what I'm saying.
He's talking about flying.
Coach.
Flying, yeah.
I have a mitzvah.
You know?
Oh, you mean the rolls or something? No, but
The whole, I don't know, how do they bring it back? Because I guess there's two.
They leave it sealed, no?
I think they leave it sealed. The real regular kosher stuff is sealed. It's all sealed.
I had my son first
But
class.
you're right. If not, then what?
I had a mitzvah on first class. I'm not travel sick at all, but they brought me up to first class once. I was about 36 hours delayed, and my visa was being revoked if I didn't fly within that hour. So they gave me that flight and they bumped me to first class. And the first thing I did, I fell asleep. They woke me up 5 minutes later. You want some nuts? So I figured, you know what, they'll come with a package of nuts with the hechsher on it. I said, yeah. They brought me a cup of nuts, a glass, and it was heated, roasted nuts. And I was so exhausted, I didn't think straight. And I ate them. I fell asleep. 20 minutes later, I woke up and threw my guts up. The only time I've ever thrown up in a plane. And it was first class.
Very good. So I still hope you didn't eat trays.
I hope I didn't eat trays, but I
Nice
didn't make
story,
enough
but you should
Russell
still
because
hope
I
that it
threw it
wasn't
up.
trape and you just threw up because you threw up.
Yeah, but it's leaning towards I threw up because Avish wanted me to.
Yeah, I hear. I hear. All right, I'm gonna log it off.
Yashikaya.
You can say
Where's
that.
Elio? Is Elio there?
What?
Is Elio there?
Hey, he went off to the other end. I don't know.
All right, I'll text him.
Oh, I got it down with my. All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Yashikaya.
Tigers.
Why are you not afraid? The boy wants to try how